friends, welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the outrageous, the unhinged, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Griffey, let's be formal here. Joined as always by my friends and co-hosts, Sam and Heath. Welcome back.
Hello.
We're here for another New Movie Monday. So because we are out, as you hear this, we will be in the field filming our final two segments of Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole. Our first anthology horror feature film will be down to one small segment after, but we're out working. So we're getting a little ahead. So we were looking for independent horror movies that have come out. We wanted to put some shine on. In that vein, though, guys, if you want to help us out, go to Indiegogo.com. You have to specifically search Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole or find it on any Misfit Parade social because we have been shadow banned, which is fine. You don't make a movie called Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole if you're afraid, if you're fucking scared. And we ain't.
Yeah.
But we could use your help. The more that we can help, we've had some amazing fortunes. We have hit goals. We've hit stretch goals. The more that we can garner support for this movie, the better we can get it out to you guys. That's the goal. So keep spreading that. Put it on your networks. That would mean the world to us. Go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon to help this pod. Patreon exclusives, mini-series commentaries. You can vote on episodes that become, or movies that become episodes. That is the best way to help this show. 5-star ratings and reviews. Share the Spotify's, TikToks, whatever. Reels, run all the social media. Misfit Parade, find us there.
Are you done? Are you done?
No, dude. This is a lot. Like Marshmallow, there's a lot happening.
I stopped listening like 5 minutes ago.
Well, that does wonders for my soul.
That's kind of what I did when I watched the movie.
Oh, my God. Shots fired. Okay, so we're here today. Fine. You guys,
Yeah,
you
what
guys
movie are we talking
You guys aren't
about?
here for business. You're here for new movies as I get badgered to start the show. I feel very much like the main character in this show. I forget his name. We're going to call him Lancelot.
Cryboy, right?
Yeah, Cryboy. Or
Billy?
Tummy Gina. Was that his name? That was a weird scene.
No, I just know Doink.
Yeah, Doink the Oink, who was the MVP of the movie. So we're here to talk about Marshmallow. 2025, director Daniel DelPurgatorio.
Yeah.
One of the greatest names I've ever heard in my life.
DelPurgatorio.
DelPurgatorio.
He might be AI. We don't know.
He could be AI. We don't know. Here is the synopsis of the movie. Question everything. At a secluded summer camp, timid and introverted 12-year-old Morgan is thrust into a waking nightmare when a once-fabled campfire tale becomes real. As a mysterious figure descends upon the camp, Morgan and his newfound friends must embark on a treacherous journey and uncover a sinister reality buried beneath the surface. This is one that I kept seeing. It popped up on all the best horror movies you haven't seen this year. It was popular on the festival circuit. So I had this on my radar for a while. Thought this was a great chance to drop it in the lineup. I have to say, as the movie starts, it looks like $1 million. They shot it really well.
$3 million, in fact.
$3 million,
Yeah.
we think. I was getting a little worried at the start, right? They have these cool dream sequences. You don't exactly know what's going on. As we got to the summer camp, you start getting this hint of, I've seen this. What are we doing? It seems like there's a little bit of rickety road ahead, right? I gotta say, we all watched it together in the living room with my neighbor, Nick. As this thing started kicking off, though, once they started to unfurl the kind of mysteries and the not titular, because he's not the Marshmallow. We don't know who the Marshmallow is. That's another thing.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Once the doctor showed up and started tasing the shit out of every kid he could find, I thought this movie exploded, became ultra fascinating. I loved the reveals. To Heath's point, I think you said this as a negative. I take that as a great positive. This is a very long Twilight Zone episode. Or a Goosebumps or an Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That's a great way to put it, actually.
I would put it more like the 90s Outer Limits.
Outer Limits, yes. And I gotta say, by the end of this movie, as worried as I was at the start, I found myself loving this fucking movie. I thought it was such a blast.
Yeah.
It was unconventional, which I did not expect as it got going. I thought it was really fun. What did you guys think? Opening thoughts.
I think we all tried our best to not like it, and we just couldn't.
You just couldn't. It won you over.
You could not like it. Yeah.
One of us may have achieved better than the others.
There comes a point where there's just the point of no return. It doesn't matter how clever you're trying to
You're
be.
just done.
If you are going to deliver one of the most cliche-ridden, on the surface,
Yes.
just seen it every single movie. Also, I don't like movies with kids. I'm just going to put it out there.
He hates kids.
I'm against kids as main protagonists, and that was the one thing that was really hard for me with 28 Years Later. I'm like, I got to do a coming of age movie in a horror film.
Can we just have a small aside about kids, right?
They're not good actors.
Well, but also, dude, like,
I thought the kid in this was really good. I thought Morgan was good.
I am still like having a hard time believing. Like, the only industry where you can use kid labor is in movies.
Well,
have you ever thought about it that way? Huh?
Q Lawrence was the Morgan's name. I thought he was great. Again, that's because you have to have movies that take place with kids and families. That's a huge
to
part
Heath's
of our
point, you
everyday
don't.
life. You don't have to, but
have to do
that's
anything.
a huge swath of stories you would immediately get rid of if
Hey,
you
you
never
don't
used a
have to
kid.
have movies.
Sam, you brought this up on a previous podcast. Like, why are all the kids?
Little shits.
Yeah, they're little shits.
In real life,
I
they're
guess
little shits.
we had a couple little shit characters in this.
I like
That was okay.
In real life, they're little shits. In movies, they're always like perfect. But in this one, can we spoil it at the very
Yeah,
beginning?
spoilers for
There
everything
are-
if you're listening to this.
They're all fucking robots in this movie. So that explains
Oh,
why.
we're going there immediately.
He said he wanted to spoil it. There it is.
That's right.
So all the little shits are robots, essentially.
Which does feel like a programming bug.
Yeah.
But
They're just not interesting. These kids are not interesting. They're
What,
stock.
did you like kids in movies when you were a kid?
I did, but they were interesting then. Like,
Okay.
think of those movies. Not all of
Oh,
them.
you mean the movies were interesting then?
The movies and the characterization of the children were interesting. When you had The Sandlot, Rookie of the Year, Goonies.
So you haven't changed, the movies have changed.
I think so. I
Okay.
think the kids are represented much flatter, much less interesting. They're not given any personality. They're just like these wide-eyed innocents all the time.
yeah.
And I think 28 Years Later was like that. It's boring.
Maybe it's
super
the rules
boring.
that Griffey's talking about. Did they have those rules in the 90s?
Yes, there are child labor rules that you have to follow on
Maybe
every set.
when they didn't have the
It's
rules,
the same
kids
thing.
were like-
Animals and kids cannot be harmed in the making of these movies, ideally.
But
Or
neither
overworked.
can adults, really.
I think you can get fined.
You can
Yeah,
fine.
we've almost killed a couple actors on sets. That happens.
Hey,
no,
man.
what I would argue is I think this is a more throwback to those kind of 80s era kids' adventures, right? I thought the kids
was.
in this one
The start of it was.
were a little more interesting. And again, most of the kids are pretty thin kind of stereotype ideas. I think the point of this movie is that it plays very thin and kind of stereotypical once we get to the camp, because it's all a facade and it's leading to this bigger reveal.
Which my point is fine, but you have to start to break away from that much earlier. If we're past the halfway point and I'm still like, this is a shitty movie with shitty acting.
You want to hook them right away.
That is like full of cliches.
Yeah.
And then you want to throw the twist on me, it's too late.
It's too late.
he already had his mind.
See, okay.
But also, Heath fell asleep for like
Here-
20 minutes.
Here's
Well,
my
I wonder why.
Here's
wonder
my
why.
difference, because what I would say is a lot of the worst kind of kid movies, what it is the kids are flat and innocent, and, acting varies a lot in kids. I think you even see this in this group. I thought the main kid, Morgan, was really good. I liked Doink the Oink. He was great.
Not so thin, like you were saying earlier.
That's insulting. That's rude. But I think what happens is also there is this, the kids are never in any real danger.
Yeah.
Because they're kids, and you're not going to brutally murder a kid in almost any movie, even a horror movie. I will say this one, when they start running through and you're like, Jesus Christ, there are scenes with just like 10 to 15 kids completely passed out.
Yeah.
We think dead because they're just cattle prodding the shit out of them. I was like, okay, this is different.
I actually remember you asking, like, how much would it take to kill someone with one of those?
I was Googling, can you kill people with a cattle prod? Not kids, because I don't want to be on a list.
And you can, apparently, right?
You can. You can kill them through heart failure. There's all kinds of other systemic things
If
that
they
can
happen to be
happen.
robots, they're definitely kids.
That was one of those details that takes you out of it. Again, there's a reason for it, because it's, what movie did we just watch where it was Megan.
Yeah.
Where the
EMP.
the EMP
Yeah.
renders them, incapacitated.
That's kind of the same thing, yeah.
But I'm not thinking they're robots. I'm just like,
You just think it's a bad movie.
I just think it's a bad movie.
You're like,
They're-
why are these kids not
are-
moving? This doesn't
yeah,
make any
exactly.
Well,
Okay.
again, I thought the rollout of it, though, was pretty clever, because there is something that was shocking about it. Like, the first time they start tasing the kids, you're like, oh, holy shit. And then it just keeps happening. I swear to God, it's like 50 kids get tased. There's that scene where the counselor's like, come in here, everyone in the mess, let's get together in a big blob. And you're like, all right, that's not a very big doctor. He's just got a stun gun. We'll just mob him.
Yeah.
We already saw that CJ kid beating the shit out of Raj. I was like, maybe this will be okay. And then they just cut to and kids screaming. You're like, he must have got like 50 more
Well,
kids.
no, they did it cool too because they all went
It was
into the
outside
cabin,
of the
and then the
cabin.
camera goes outside of the cabin. You
it's
just
like
see the
going
windows.
along the window.
Yeah.
But that's cool when it's an actual gun. When it's an electric taser, it's sort of lame.
Oh man,
See, I thought that part ripped. I loved when they're like, let's go to the bridge and get across. And there's just fucking kids everywhere. And I was just like, what the fuck is that? And that's what I think this movie is deceptively lulling us into this. We've seen it. The movie has two kind of big misdirects right at the start, right? One, the kid has these really bad nightmares. There's kind of this, he's underwater. He sees his grandpa. And then he comes to his room. They do this dream like 3 times. I thought it was one of the coolest things in the movie was the flooded set.
Yeah.
So he's in his bedroom that's flooded. There's water dripping everywhere. And he's like, he looks down and he has the James Wood tummy gina from Videodrome.
well, I think it was
just spraying.
You know what I think it was
water
actually
everywhere.
after thinking about it more. I think that's the autopsy wounds.
Oh, that's pretty good. I
Yeah.
thought it was a bedwetting thing.
I think it's an autopsy because you know when they autopsy you, they cut you and then
Yeah.
cut you across.
I don't know why your wet dream, is that what they call peeing dreams? Not really.
Well, because it
But
was
whatever that
foreshadowing of that he was dead and he was autopsied and the water's coming out of his stomach.
That could be. I don't know why there's so much water in you if you're autopsied.
'Cause he drank.
I thought it was a bedwetting thing, right?
Oh.
And they kind of hint at that. And then there's this wild ass thing at the opening where the cool grandpa played by Corbin Bernsen just has a heart attack
That
and
scene
dies.
was horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I like that scene. It was intense. I will say,
It was intense because they just pound you with sound design and
Yeah.
music. It's
the orchestra.
the score in this movie is sledgehammer.
It's like-
even during when they're doing the Dr. Campfire tale, it's like boom, boom, boom.
so
it's like the score
ham-fisted.
for an epic movie or something.
Yeah, they're like crushing you at the score. But I thought the idea of, and this is the thing, the movie's constantly leaving this like little tinge of, I know something's not right. Like we just did Volcanizer, right? Or however the fuck you say it. It's still one of the worst titles for a movie I've ever heard. And it's these two guys in the woods, these Gomer guys going through. And it's just this guy who's like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, yeah. He's an American movie character, essentially, right? And then he's like, oh, I forgot my keys. And the other guy's like, why do you care where your keys are? And it's one of those, everyone cares where their keys.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not coming back, right? So you know there's a hint of something bad's happening, but you don't know what. This movie's laying so many of those misdirects. Like, are the dreams some kind of psychic power? Is the grandpa dying? And then the parents are like, go to camp. That'll be fine. He's clearly an insanely traumatized kid who should not be
I know.
out in
But
public.
to be fair, every single question we had was answered.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. They're leaving all these. There's always a constant unease.
For the grandpa scene, the whole point of that scene in my mind was for the final line where he says, now I get to see you. And so the audience is like, what do you mean you get to see him? You can see him right now.
Right.
He
we
means he gets to
think-
see the dead
We think
version.
the kid is going to die and join grandpa.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Yep. Which
Which is weird because, again, it's. We'll get to the robot shit later. But
Is that what it was? Grandpa gets to become a robot?
No, he gets to see him in heaven.
Because the kids we see in this movie are
Already dead.
They're approximations.
Right.
So the spirit of this kid is in heaven. Grandpa goes up and joins him, right?
So as he's having his
Oh,
heart
I
attack,
see.
he says, I get to see you
Oh,
now.
I see.
yeah.
And we're like, what does that mean? That's stupid.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those
But it actually makes sense.
You're always waiting for the other thing. To Heath's point, it did start to run out of things that I was interested in for a while.
It was kind of clunky.
Because we do the kids bullying him, CJ, and then he beats the shit out of Raj. He throws the kids in the fucking pond and he's suffocating.
That scene was also insane. Just
I loved it though.
went on and on too long.
Well, okay. The
It
one thing
overstays its welcome every scene.
This movie has a lot of like scenes where you're like, they're just holding for like 15 to 20 extra seconds that I don't get. But I think it's always leaving that there's something that I'm missing. It's putting you in that headspace of that kind of
You're
whodunit.
looking around, yeah.
And you can't, and I would argue almost no one's going to get ahead of this and know exactly what it is by the end, which I always think is a pretty impressive thing at
I think
this
it would
day and
be
age.
impossible with this movie.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the electricity and like you could piece it together, but usually I'm pretty slick on that. I was not.
You'd have to be like
following
Sherlock.
this
Sam,
at
I
all.
thought you called it pretty early.
Well, no,
Someone
dude,
did.
everything I called. So I originally thought it was going to be. I knew it was the head camp counselor.
You thought it was like a behavioral conversion therapy
Yeah,
place,
which it kind of ended up being.
which it exactly is. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's more of
Someone
a
said-
physical convergence.
Maybe it was already tipping its hand at that point, but someone said, "Oh, they're robots." I remember that. I thought it was you.
Oh, I did say that, yeah. But I said that when I can't remember when I said that, but I was like, oh, they're fucking robots, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because he said that they're dead, and then I said, oh, they're dead people already, so they're ghosts. This is purgatory. But then something about
Maybe they said you're an approximation.
you're an approximation.
That might have
to me,
been
yeah.
it.
I was like, oh, they're fucking robots.
But by that point, we kind of know already.
I guess
right?
that's true.
This is what I thought was very interesting, right? Is the misdirects. We've got the doctor now. One of the other weird things, we get to the camp, and it's kind of this cliche camp journey.
Mm-hmm.
Why the counselors are all kind of shitty. They keep doing this. You're the adult supervision. Don't be high. Don't do this and that. The head guy keeps saying, hey, we don't leave kids behind. I got a lot of work to do on CJ.
We don't give up on any
They
kids.
keep letting CJ back in the camp right after he beats the shit out of him and almost does 2 murders.
Yeah.
He's in line, one person behind Raj for hot chocolate, and we're all like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? And again, we get back to this, we've got all these misdirects, and then it starts unfurling with the doctor, and he's shocking everyone. I will say, I don't know that it is super smooth, because they do the whole,
It's not super smooth.
it's the roofie hot chocolate. Why do you have to hot chocolate these robots? Just turn them down.
Your misdirect is
Wow.
that you're making me think that this is horribly written. This is poor writing. That's your big misdirect.
I mean, I
that's
think
your
that-
sleight of hand.
that
Oh,
kind
I'm
of
going to
was.
make you think this is a shitty movie.
I do not think this was poorly written. I think
I
happens
think
in
it was. I
movies-
think it was smartly designed, except for the fact that I'm checking out before you're telling me
it's
all
only
your clever
93
stuff.
minutes, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like that first half, we did a lot of camp shit with no fucking answers. And by the time the doctor shows up, you're kind of like, because the big fear is, because he's in the bathroom, he has another wet dream. He comes
The
out.
doctor being the villain.
The villain.
The
right?
scary. So they do a
the
campfire
taser
tale.
and the fucking headlight shot.
Right,
that's
and
the
they
poster.
do this whole classic thing. I remember my cousin was a camp counselor, and I was at camp, and they did this whole exact beat. I think every camp counselor does it, where they tell a scary story, and then one of the other
Jumps out.
counselors
Sneaks off,
hides and jumps out at the right moment, scares the kids, and it's supposed to kind of keep them in line, and also, having fun with it. So the story they tell is about this doctor.
Which was fucking cool, right? He's this guy who is doing surgeries by day, and at night he was sewing his family together.
The story
You know
was way cooler
I
than the
will
actual
say-
movie.
Yeah.
Biggest issue I had is I was like, if you're going to tell me that story, I got to see a sewn together family.
Well, I
somewhere.
don't think that story actually happened.
Well, no, it clearly didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's the movie I thought I was watching. I was like, all
that's-
right. And then he
that's part
starts
of the
tasing the
misdirect.
shit out of the kids. I was like, oh, he's tasing them to keep them alive, to sew these kids
He's
together.
gonna make a big kid.
I was like, we're going to get whatever a childhood version of the society shunting scene is. And I was like, this movie's going to go down in history if they pull this off.
Right.
And then it turns into robots and whatnot. We start, the counselors are in on it. The cops are in on it. We get all these kind of classic, the kids are trying to survive and this and that. And I thought this part of the movie is pretty effective. I love Doink getting revenge.
Yeah.
And beating the shit out of the buff counselor.
Doink.
Yeah, because he even did the Monster Squad name. He's like, my name is this, my name is Dirk, not Doink. And then he gets fucking tased. It's like, dear God, what is happening?
That was badass when he got tased, actually.
Yeah, I thought this part was pretty effective. Again, I will say it's one of those, when you unfurl this whole robotics thing, I do wonder if the world building's a little hard for me to stomach if I were to watch it again, because
That's a
again,
great
I don't
point.
know why you have to sedate these kids
Yeah.
if they're androids, right? It's a Westworld. You don't have an iPad.
Well, it
Exactly.
seems like the worst way to do what you're wanting to do.
Right. It's so
See,
over
this is
the
what I mean.
top.
It seems so insane.
That's the thing. It's
that
all
this would happen.
constructed for our entertainment.
Yeah.
There's no
that's-
logic to
It's
it.
not realistic at all.
But most movies aren't, if you really think about it, especially horror movies. You have to have a conceit in the core of every film where you have to give a movie one thing that doesn't quite track, but you have to just accept it as a truth to accept the movie. That works with almost every movie you've ever seen. There's something you have to get over that's not a part of a realistic world, right? And the summer camp thing, I thought they did a good job of explaining you're a synthetic human being, right? You're an android. So you have to come, and then over the summer, we add a couple inches. We add armpit hairs. All these things so the kid will seemingly be aging, right?
Yeah.
When they go back to the real world, so the parents can keep this ruse up. Okay, fine.
Pretty creative, actually.
It is creative, but here's the problem. When you add something like this, when you think about it in the broader world, right? If this technology existed, every parent would know about it. Every single parent on Earth would know about
Oh, dude,
this.
people would be arguing about it on the
There'd
internet.
be news stories. There would be hearings at the Supreme Court about can we let these androids
Every
around
kid
our
would
kids?
think that they were an android.
Right. And
they would just assume they were.
everyone
Yeah.
would know. If you don't tell the kids so that no androids get bullied or whatever, that's fine. All the parents would know. So why the secrecy? Why not the Westworld slider? Why not just, shut the robot down for 3 months, do all the things you need to do, and then just adjust their programming? Like, why do they have to go through the rigmarole of letting them swim and boat and beat each other's ass just so you can do these like surgeries by night? That part is a little hard to stomach when you think
here's
about it.
Here's a question. What happens when they become adults? Do they ever become adults?
Because they say as they get to a certain point that essentially this doesn't happen, or it becomes like a college trip
yeah.
or whatever. So this happens by the time they hit adulthood, you don't have to adjust them anymore.
And
Why?
then I assume at some point you just kill them, right? Because once the parents are dead, there's no reason for them to exist.
Well, it does. It offers all these other questions, like what if
do
one
they
of
go
these
to do they go off to college? Do they start dating
Do
someone?
they have to pay tuition?
Well, it's one of those things. Once they're not there for their parent, because these things are replicas of an empty space in a parent's life. So once they go out and does this guy go out and get a job at Salesforce and try to date? Because who's that helping?
Yeah, but
that's not helping the parents.
What parent is just like, okay, my kid graduated high school, I never need to talk to them ever again?
But what I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. That the idea of this is for parents of younger kids. I think they make it seem like this is a relatively new-ish program. So they probably haven't had a lot of those kids who have aged into being like 30-year-olds.
They seem like they've been doing it for a while because there was the line. They didn't say the exact time, but it made you think there was a lot when the two counselors were arguing. She's like, how many years have we been doing this together? And he's like, well, you should know by now. Then.
Right, but I mean, it's probably not 20.
Yeah, it's probably
because they're young, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And he lost his kid. He designed. How long would it take to design this, implement it, get your angel investors? They have multiple camps. We find,
yeah.
And again, I think the rationale for it in the context of the movie, right? I lost my kid. I'm trying to take away every parent's worst nightmare. How can that be wrong? I was like, that's cool. It's one of those things that happens in a lot of sci-fi is when the movie ends and you spend the next day thinking about it. There's all these huge fucking world-building questions that don't quite click into place. To where the entire camp setup, yes, seems illogical, but it's a movie, and it is specifically designed for our entertainment.
That's excusable as an episode of TV, in the 20th century.
I think it's fine.
As a movie, I guess it's
I'm
going
to take my kids to go see Jurassic World today. I don't believe that there's dinosaurs running around. You have to give the movie something, right? A world where this guy created dinosaurs, they're not leaving that island full of dinosaurs.
That's not what realism is in movies, though, because you believe that they could create these dinosaurs. In
right, but
Park.
you don't believe that when the first dinosaurs go nuts and eat everyone, that they don't go in and exterminate every fucking dinosaur on that island. You don't let those dinosaurs then join the actual ocean biome and start eating cruise liners.
Here's another hot take. Those movies suck.
That's true.
How dare you?
One of the worst franchises we've ever had is Jurassic Park.
That's insane.
There's just one really good one.
Just one.
Yeah. First one.
I'm not here to argue that they're all great, but the first
one they're all bad.
The first one is a movie for everyone. The rest of them are movies for kids. And as kids' movies, they fucking rip.
But this isn't a kids' movie. This is a horror film.
Right, but I think this one is aimed at a younger audience.
But why is it rated R? I thought for sure this should be
I don't know.
PG-13.
I think it's only rated R because all the kids are getting fucking tased like crazy. And I think that image is what gets...
I think
there
the
were quite
stab in the leg.
There were quite a few F-bombs as well.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think it's that kind of stuff. There's a sex scene, a weird sex scene.
Yeah.
So it adds things that are rated R. Yeah, where the big counselor's humping away on that chick.
Ah.
And he hears the kid scream, and he's like, damn it. Also, I was like...
She kept her bra on, though, so you might
It
have
is weird. It's like, aren't you guys on the clock? Don't you have to be abducting kids? Why are you, fucking banging out?
But they explain it all, yeah.
Because that's a horror movie trope.
Right, but that's what I mean.
This movie loves tropes.
It does, but I think it's using it as a way to look back at those kind of things and our preconceived notion of what the movie's going to be to pull off this big sleight of hand.
It wants to, lull you in and then be like, nope. You were wrong.
Yeah, and again, I totally concede it's a game that doesn't make sense for the value of a movie. But as I always argue, one of the lamest fucking twist endings that everyone fucking loves is Saw. That movie does not work in any way, shape, or form if you don't cheat like fucking crazy. But when we saw it in Saw, we're like, that's awesome. That blew my mind. This is no different than that.
Dude, he was so still. He was so
Yeah, he was so still. Again, I've talked about the Saul cheating ad nauseum. Someday we should just do a pod on it. But again, we all thought that was great. Movies that have these big twist endings, a lot of it is nonsense to get us to that moment, right?
But the ride of that movie, I guess this is pointless to argue because you guys clearly were fine with this ride.
I thought it was interesting, and maybe it's because I'm the only parent in the room.
Maybe
I would at least run this out like, would I want a replacement kid, right? What if one of my kids was okay and the other
I was
one
actually going to
wasn't?
ask you that. What do you think about that, being the only one with kids? Would it even be good?
I think the problem is, because I have 2 kids, right? Let's assume that one of them survives. How could you ever bring that kid back and then ask him to change his whole life? The thing is, this is a single child,
This
right?
is a single child. I think it only works
He's an
for
only child.
Yeah.
And I mean, I talk about this with Amy all the time. I lost my brother, and it damn near fucking crushed my whole life. If I lost a kid, like you guys saw the show Broadchurch, right?
no.
Like one of the best fucking
That
BBC
was a good one.
shows.
Yep.
And it's all about this family. They talk about like parents who lose a kid, like 85+% of them end in divorce. They can't look at each other.
Yeah.
All you look at is the kid. You see the memories. It's the worst. Like if I lost a kid, I don't know what you would do to go on. And if a company's like, hey, here's this fucking robot, you have to go through this very elaborate fucking summer camp ruse once a year, but you can fill that void. Yeah, probably, man.
You think so?
If I could replace my dog with this, I probably would.
See, a dog makes a lot
And there's
more
something
sense.
very unnatural and unhealthy about it, which I think the movie's tapping into. Like the weird scene when the mom is like dropping the kid off and they're like, oh, you can't come past this point. And she seems very helicopter and clingy. And you're like, that's weird. You want him to go to this camp. Why are you so clingy? You're like, this is a mom who's taking her kid she just lost and letting him go again. She's going back home to that reality of there is no kid. And I was like, okay, so some of the scenes start working better for me as it unlocks.
I guess this is a nitpick. If we have the technology to have these androids that are kind of like perfect replications of their child, and we have to go through all of this rigmarole, if that exists, why not just clone? Why not just do cloning? We know that technology is available.
Well, cloning's different than this, because you can build these at an assembly line scale. Right, cloning, you have to start and actually grow this thing from.
So you just think the economics aren't
Well,
there?
I think the idea is you want the exact
science of
time.
it is we have the science now to build machines, air quotes.
Yeah.
I think it's an easier leap. Here's the other thing. The thing in the movie world building wise that doesn't make sense to me, because again, everyone would fucking know.
Wait. Sorry, I want to hear it. I just have to interrupt real fast. Why not cloning? Because we have people clone their pets.
I think it's what he's saying. He's saying because when your kid dies, you want them back at the exact same age. You don't want to wait 6 years.
Oh,
or
I
nine-
see.
The
I
movie
You don't want to wait
starts
like 9
with
years.
them moving to a new town.
okay.
Yeah, you want a full grown
Because
kid.
even if all the people know, like everyone in their town knows their kid died,
That's true.
even if they get the replica kid, they're gonna know they have one.
I'm with you though. I think I'd rather just start at age 1 and just.
I guess I was just thinking.
Here's
brought
the
up
thing,
pets.
though. You can
People do that.
program the kid to be a really close approximation
Yeah.
of the kid you lost. If you clone and you believe, you guys know
It's gonna be totally random.
rasa, the blank slate.
Yeah.
If you start with a kid from scratch, what if that kid
Could be totally
is a
different.
big? Yeah, it could totally change everything.
People say that about their pets. They clone their pets and they sort of acknowledge.
I didn't realize I had heard this idea because we still have a collar from our dog, our most beloved dog, and Amy someday like, if we could get her back. And I was like, dude, have you not seen Pet Cemetery? Have you not seen anything? But so there's a great Black Mirror. One of my favorites ever was the I'll Be Right Back or something, right? And it's the Donald Gleason one where he's with Haley Atwell. He dies. She's out there by herself. There's this company where you essentially have them come. You soak it in a tub of this milky shit, and it comes out exactly like him. And with the internet and this AI thing in its brain, it reads all the social media profiles, any voicemails you have, and it is a replication of him. And the whole episode is about, even though he's back, he's better at sex. He doesn't have the same sense of humor. He, can like Google everything there and tells her stories about locations. And it's just not the same. He looks the same. He acts almost the same. But you just know those human things aren't there.
Sure.
And this movie never gets to the point where we grapple with that.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of, if you want to do this twist ending, that's where you want to stop the movie. I do feel like there's a lot of meat they left on the bone
Sure.
Because that's the good stuff, right? Is what makes us human. This whole movie plays as everyone's human, and then at the end it's like, they're not.
That's what I'm saying.
And you're
That's
like,
why.
what does that mean?
That's why the ending feels like a cheap twist, even though it's well constructed.
Yeah.
The very
It
end
feels
ending
cheap.
is definitely
Beautifully
cheap.
shot, beautifully laid out. Again, the pacing's really clunky in this.
Very clunky.
But I thought the overall control of the story, and I thought where they got in the end was at least interesting enough that it made the ride really fun for me.
Well, and the robots. Well, I thought that was pretty cheap. That the kids just go psycho at the end and kill everybody.
Well, this felt like one of those that are like, this
They had to
could
wrap it
be a
up.
bigger story if
Yeah.
they want, where we get to some of these things we're talking about.
They should have just done that movie. That should have been the halfway point.
They just
How many
start killing
times
everybody.
have you been writing a script and you think you get to the end and like it's great, and you go back and you read it and you're like, that ending is probably better served as the midway point.
Well,
Like, I don't have the
it's
whole
one
movie
of
I
those.
thought
I
I
think
had.
it was David Mamet, who's like, when you write a story and you read it back the first time, cut the first 15 pages and cut the last 15 pages, and that's your movie. That's the story right there. And this, I would say, this one fits into that pretty well, right? Because we would lose the killer kids, but you'd still have almost all the other reveals and shit you need. Again, the Killer Kids movie is a completely different scenario than this, right? If he goes to camp and he's having nightmares and he's the only robot and he's killing people but doesn't know it, like, there's a version of that. I think it's a little less interesting.
That would have added to the mystery if we just started at the camp.
Yeah, and he's just a kid who's like having a lot of trouble, so they send him to camp to make friends.
The grandpa stuff was so corny.
I think if they just
You
cut
thought
out
the grandpa
that
was
part,
corny?
yeah.
So corny.
Yeah? What'd you think of the grandpa?
Well, the only reason they put the grandpa in there is because they wanted those water effects. I think
Yeah, I didn't
because
get
he
it.
didn't make any sense. Like him
Well,
dying at the
his-
very beginning.
His
didn't make any
nightmare of water is because he drowned. He got wrapped up in the pool vacuum.
And starting in a dream
that
sequence-
kid crushed that scene.
I
When
have
he
a
was
question
crying,
though.
telling about
So
his
they
own
always
death.
go back to where there's a flashback picture in his head where the grandpa's reaching in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that never happened because he drowned down there.
But he was trying to save him.
Yeah,
So
but
the
why would
last
you
thing-
see it through the kid's eyes if the kid's dead?
It is weird. You're like, why does
Why
the
would they
ro-
pro-
why
why
does
would
the
they program
robot
that memory?
have
Yeah.
that? Because this is where it gets into that ghost in the machine thing.
Right.
When you're trying to tell a synthetic creation and an algorithm, right? This is what this person is. It's trying really hard to be human, and there's just this leftover junk. If this thing's connected to the internet or whatever, it knows that a kid died by drowning. That's in this system somewhere.
Right.
He just can't access it.
Well, why would he have the memories of it?
Because if he's on the internet and he's approximating this kid through social media, Twitch, whatever, YouTube algorithm, somewhere there's a news article that this kid died in a drowning. That's going to be information that's somewhere buried in this
See,
programming.
this was my thinking behind it, was that they do use a little bit of the biological material from the kid. Like maybe a piece of his brain.
That could be.
Because I was like, why would there be residual memories? I don't know. And also, how would you even program his memory?
Because there's no way they thought that through.
Because
It's-
who's even...
I will
recording?
say this, even the dumbest movie that's ever going to be put out to mankind, Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole, the amount of thought that John and I put into all of
Okay,
this stupid
it's-
shit
yeah.
that never will make it. Like, most viewers will never do that. But if you sat and saw all of our recorded talks, you'd be like, the time that we wasted thinking about
So I'm going to
all
think
of these
there had
things.
to have been a little piece of his brain in there.
I don't even know that. Again, he couldn't. This thing has to have access to the information. Somewhere it would find its own obituary. That has to be in the programming.
So you think it's
which
just
could
like
peg why
doing-
they start going evil. Because somewhere you're trying to tell it to be a human, and that the program is going to know that it did not make it. That has to create some kind of flaw that could cascade through the system and make them murderers.
But the primary purpose is to manipulate the audience into thinking
Absolutely.
certain.
Okay.
And again, I think we're doing this dream thing as a misdirect, right? I think you can look back at it as this ghost in the machine idea, and that when Grandpa says, I'll see you again or whatever, or now I can see you, it triggered something in this program to try to make sense of that.
Yeah.
And is bringing back this death memory that it somehow got the knowledge of, right?
That would be trippy as hell if someone said that to you as
Yeah,
they're
that'd
dying.
be fucking crazy.
Hey,
And
I get
again,
to see you
when
now.
people are dying and he's probably got oxygen deprivation, his brain's shutting down, and he just says something, you're like, well, now I gotta fucking live with that
God
forever?
damn it.
That's fucking crazy. But in this movie, it leads to something else, right? And so I don't mind the trickery of all of it. Again, I do think the ending is like just a setup for a sequel, which tons of horror movies do.
Yeah.
Right? De Palma kind of started that with Carrie, where the hand comes out in the dream, and like now every movie has an extra twist at the end. Every horror movie has a cold open and then a twist at the end.
As much as I love that movie and as effective as that scene is, it's superficial. I mean, it's really just for one last scare.
Yeah, it is. And it's the trauma of this will always live with this girl. It's this kind of coming of age womanhood story. The trauma of, your first blood and your mom sexualizing you as a demon and all that shit. And this, I'm not going to say this has like Carrie vibes. That ending is completely out of control. But the idea that this is a widespread thing, there's all these camps, and he's like, they're starting to turn violent.
And they all did it at the exact same time for some reason.
Yeah, there's something in the code that when they hit a certain age, it's starting to pop.
It doesn't really actually make any sense. Like, why would they all snap at the same time? And nothing's explained.
Well, it's not at the same time. She's the only one at the camp who starts killing people.
No. Because remember, the dude's on the phone, and he's talking to the guy, and the guy on the phone's like, no, it's not just your camp. This is happening all across the...
Right, but it's not all of the synthetics. It's one at this camp. It could be one at a bunch of camps.
But I pictured it as all of them.
To your point, something's being triggered.
Something's being triggered, yeah.
Well, it could be an outside hacker. There's any number of ways that this... Because they mentioned that, too. Like, someone could be doing a cyber attack. There's any number of, like, outside world things that this could be.
Which, that's a terrifying thought. Because if all the... Or a lot of the kids
again,
are
this
robots...
is why these robots could not exist in secret. Right. And again, the family we follow is rich as shit.
Yeah.
Right? And CJ his mom works at the same place as his dad, so presumably they're rich too. So I guess they want us to believe this is like a rich person thing that like no one would know about. Right. Mm-hmm. I find that impossible to believe in the age of the internet and social media.
I mean, they're not that rich. They're in like a cul-de-sac, right?
I mean, that house is like a $5 million house. That's a fucking rich.
But that's
that's not that rich.
Yeah.
That's fucking rich to us, dude. What are you talking about? $5 million could get you a robot,
but it's not secret society rich.
Yeah,
probably not.
They're not partying with Hillary.
Jesus Christ. You think she's a synthetic?
Now I do. I never thought about it before you said that.
It was Hillary.
They're not having pizza parties at Hillary's.
We got to go to the local pizza parlors and see if these kids are real. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think it's the tough thing in science fiction is you make your world big enough to fill the movie. But science fiction, when you add that into the horror, that's a genre that begs you to ask bigger questions at the world at large. I think the movie somewhat fails at that, but I don't think it hurts this movie because the story of this movie I felt completely plausible. As a parent who loses a kid, you would go through anything. Is it possible that the guy that invented this technology just came up with the dumbest fucking idea ever for how to keep this thing running? And because he's a genius who made replacement kids, people are like, well, he's a smart guy. We should believe. Like, we've seen this all over in our modern world. Anyone who's rich, we're just like, that guy must be fucking smart as hell. Mm-hmm. And just because you can build a robot, is it possible people accept your dumbest ideas as real? Yes.
We'll have a summer camp and we'll upgrade them there.
Yeah. And so I think for me, the contained story in this movie absolutely works. It's a little clunky at times, but I thought the ride itself was so worth it. And it was super fun. And again, it's also hard to have something that feels somewhat unique to me. And I thought the experience of this movie in total did feel unique and again, I thought this was a lower budget than it was. When you watch it, this is a big fucking movie. Mm-hmm. So maybe we should expect a little more from it. But when it left, I was jazzed, man. I was like, that movie they landed the plane.
I would describe the movie, and I was thinking about this. It's so twisty and turny that I think I slipped a disc. However, even though I was laying prone, I still had the rest of the movie to watch, and it was good.
Put that on a poster. That's the most insane. So wait, you're saying this is like you throwing your back out?
Yeah. So the first part of the movie, I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was just turning. It's all twisty and shit, right?
And you hurt yourself somewhere in here. You hurt yourself and you fall down.
And then I was paralyzed, but then I'm left to look at this beautiful story afterwards. And I'm like,
so you're a silver lining kind of guy.
I'm like,
yes, you're paralyzed.
A better way to say this is the second half of the movie was way better than the first half, in my mind.
Yeah.
Hey,
in this metaphor, I hope you're sedated somewhat watching the rest of it.
Yeah.
So then, can you even trust what you're seeing? Because
I don't
your
know.
mind's not
you're on morphine and shit.
Well, because I was like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
I love how we're just asking questions. You're like, nailed it. That's perfect.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, you're just leaving it open ended like this movie. But again, I don't even know what to do with that. That's insane. But to your point, you said the second half of the movie's better than the first, right? That's every good movie. Every movie second half should be better than the first half.
The first Lord of the Rings was the best out of the three.
But you shouldn't be comparing them. The first
the
half,
second half of the first Lord of the Rings was better than the first half in the Shire.
For
sure.
Every first half of every movie has to do some setup. So if it's
Yes.
a really good movie, then yeah, you're not even thinking about was the first half better than the second half because it's all setting up everything that comes next.
Yes, the second half is where all the payoffs are. This movie does that.
Sinners was kind of both good. Because
Yeah.
dude, I was watching Sinners and
I
I was
know.
like, I could just watch the entire first half if they just redid that and they're just actually trying.
No vampires.
No vampires. They're just trying to be
Right.
successful.
Yeah.
I was like, that'd be entertaining as
Yeah.
hell.
Just do like a Boardwalk Empire.
Absolutely.
So a really good movie is entertaining.
That's
all the
what
way
I'm
through.
saying. It has
I
to
don't think
earn your respect.
The first half of this movie was unengaging. I
Dude,
think
it
it's
was
one
bad.
of those.
You thought it was bad.
I was worried.
You were ready for it to be
No,
bad.
what I said was I don't know how they land this plane. At the end, I thought they did.
I just remember Griffey would turn over every once in a while and be like, man, they held that shot a little too long.
They
Like,
did that a lot.
We were actively
and he was
trying.
correct.
Yeah, he was.
They did.
There was a lot of those where I was like, that has to mean something, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No.
And at the end, you're like, maybe.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And again, I'm not here to argue this is a perfect film. I'm here to argue I thought it was really strong. If there is a problem with the movie, it's stuff that you think about after the fact, which I don't think is a problem.
And
no. It doesn't have a traditional first act, right? The first act is essentially the first half, whereas there should have been an act one break where something bigger happened. And then the, midpoint being the doctor makes sense to me. I think the first act just overstays its welcome a little bit.
I disagree. If you're looking at it, if you're looking at the screenplay, then what you're saying, fine. But this is a tacky film. Like every decision made is tacky. The directing sucks. The acting sucks.
Whoa!
The cinematography kind of sucks.
So
in the
that
score,
I disagree with.
The score really sucks.
Well, I guess we can cancel that filmmaker Friday, Mr. DelPurgatorio.
See, I don't think the score sucks. I just think they needed to.
Maybe
mix it a
Mr.
lot better.
DelPurgatorio should come on the show and fucking lay into Heath.
Fine, let's do it. Is that why we do these? Griffey
No.
is to appease other filmmakers?
I'm with Heath. We should always be honest merchants.
And again, he may be AI. We don't know yet.
That's true. What if he's not real? What if he also slipped his disc?
I mean, that's not a real name I've ever heard of. DelPurgatorio.
I've never heard of that
I
name.
think it's an awesome name.
It is
That would be a
pretty
great
metal.
pro wrestler alias. That's a great fucking name.
Well, that's what-
Well, at one point, if you guys are ever wondering if Sam does his cool hot takes on us, not on camera, at one point he goes, Purgatory, DelPurgatorio. And I was like, what? Is that
That'd be a little too on the nose.
But that's the kind of great insights we get from Sam on the ring. But yeah,
What's the title? What's the point of the title?
Oh yeah. So what does
Why
marshmallow,
marshmallow?
So here are some options. You put marshmallows in hot chocolate, right? They were doing the roofie
mean?
coladas.
But they used whipped cream for some reason.
That's right. Because
A lot of them have whipped cream and marshmallows.
I know, but they didn't show it. I was like, that would be your perfect spot.
I
to
don't
show
think
the
I ever saw
marshmallow.
one marshmallow.
There was not one marshmallow.
Where's the fucking marshmallow?
Where are the
okay,
marshmallows?
The doctor looked like a marshmallow
No, he didn't.
in
A
his
little
suit,
bit.
his
What kind
white
of
suit.
marshmallows have you been eating, bro?
Good ones.
Okay.
They're
Humanoid ones?
Tall, good ones. No. Maybe the human body's a marshmallow that's too soft and weak. That's why we have to
like
be replaced.
Doink?
Is it?
Yeah.
Hey, wait. Is marshmallow like a code? Is it like a term for some sort of technology that we don't know about? Are we just missing something obvious? Is
I
a
feel
marshmallow like
if-
a hard drive?
I feel like if it's the title, it should be explained in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking marshmallow
That's
might
just
be
me.
like a code word.
Or
for
at
something.
the end, they're marshmallows because they're just soft, white little replicants
But really, they're hard because aren't they metal on the inside?
on the inside. But their outer is soft, fleshy, marshmallowy material.
I'd be pissed off if that's how my marshmallows were. You just bite into them, it's like, ah.
Then you have a slipped disc and a broken tooth. This movie's really rocking you.
You're
Yeah.
gonna need a doctor, Sam.
I need a doctor. Nice.
I don't know. Some people I know in the screenwriting community are really into titles. Some people clearly aren't. The 3 new movie Mondays we're gonna have in a row: The Severed Son, S-U-N, Volcanizadora, and this one, all bad titles for
titles, yeah.
movies.
They all can't be as on the nose as Mr. Cream Jeans' hidey hole.
Sounds like money to me, baby.
That's artsy.
Sounds like money to me. We will not be getting a Chains of Camp out of that movie. That will be a hard pass. It'd be like those real sex camps where like accountants would go and get whipped and treated like horses for a week.
Real sex camps.
Did you never watch HBO Real Sex?
I was a poor kid.
What? You just got HBO every couple weekends for free, and we would watch it then.
I was too poor to even get it for free, I guess. I didn't know that was a thing.
Dude, I remember being a kid and watching HBO Real Sex and being like, is this what happens?
They have camps
like,
for
I
that?
thought it would be cool sex. Like, you know, because
No.
we had like Baywatch and Barbed Wire and all this shit where like our sex was ramping up, our sexuality. And then you're like, is it all just bald, pasty guys getting fucking spanked with a fucking crop in their mouth? Like, is that...
Lots of rolls.
you had to watch Taxi Cab Confessions. That's
Oh, I
the one
loved
you
it.
missed.
Hookers on the Point. Like, I loved all those
That's
shits.
how I learned about hepatitis C.
Hepatitis, see you later.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I thought this was a very effective movie for what it was.
All right, so another complaint in a segue. Most messed up moment.
Yes.
We had one kill, one on-screen kill, and it actually happens off-screen.
I mean, I think CJ's the only one who actually dies, but he
That's
doesn't
a very
even die.
good point. We didn't even see the kill.
The counselor,
Yeah.
she's just floating in the water.
Oh, yeah, she gets killed, and then the head guy gets killed by Pilar at the end.
Well, you don't see it, though.
You don't
her
see
run.
either.
No, if you had to pick the most messed up moment in Marshmallow, I think it has to be the first time you see a kid get brutally tased. And then it kind of extrapolates out. Watching them run through the camp where the floor is just littered with 10 to 15 possibly dead kids in every shot.
No, there comes a point where you just realize they're not going to kill anyone. Because...
There was a part we were watching and I was like, all these kids are fucking dead.
I'm pretty sure So my most messed up moment was when he stumbles into the operating room and you see CJ on the table with his chest splayed open, and I was like, "Fuck! They just killed CJ."
That was
But see,
maybe the
I
most
thought
horror
that
moment.
was a dream, so
Yeah.
I didn't
You
buy
thought-
that
Oh,
yet.
I didn't get that. That was a
Once
dream.
they started
it was a dream.
tasing,
That was
I
a
thought
dream?
that was
Yeah.
real. Well, no, by the end of the movie, I think it's real. He was on the
okay.
operating table,
And they were repairing
and he's
his...
not really a kid, so it's not
But
that
it
messed
looked.
up.
But
yet.
what was weird is it looked like bones and blood.
Yeah, he had like a rib cage and stuff.
Yeah.
To protect his inner workings. But I think it's the tasing is where you're like, oh shit, like I haven't seen
The
this
actual
before.
violence
What do
towards
you
children?
think the most messed up moment is?
Oh no.
I can't come up with one because it's just going to end up being snarky.
Well, okay. I remember when we were watching it, and what's his face? CJ started punching that kid.
Maybe that was it.
CJ hits that kid like 60
That's
times.
Yeah.
a lot.
And I
yeah.
remember you commenting like, "Man, that kid should be dead." Or something
Right.
like that.
Well, they're both.
That was pretty messed up.
If you want to take the CJ, the most messed up moment with CJ is he almost commits a double homicide, and then a frame later, he's in line
In Coco.
for hot chocolate behind the kid he almost fucking murdered. That was wild.
Oh, dude. So there are lots of messed up. The other one is when the mom sends him to summer camp. We don't know he's a robot. His grandpa just died, and the mom's like, "Okay, you got to go to summer camp." That's pretty messed up.
Bye.
Hold on, this is off topic a bit, but now I'm questioning. So that scene where CJ's like whooping up on the other kid, and then the main, what's his name? Morgan has maybe drowned, and they're doing CPR on a robot now.
Because the
Dude.
other kids have to believe it.
Oh, is that what it is?
The other kids have to believe in the
But it works.
mythology
The
of
thing
what's
is, it works.
happening. Well, he coughs
The
up some
CPR
water.
because he's doing chest
Do
compressions.
you think they just like secretly push a button on his neck or
They're
something?
pumping the water up.
Dude, that is a good point. That man.
The other kids are also dead. You could say the most messed up moment is when they find their files and they're like, fuck, we're all
Yeah,
dead.
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of little messed up moments.
Yeah.
But this movie's not rewatchable.
Thank you.
I disagree.
Thank you.
You cannot
I
rewatch it.
disagree.
You know what this
This will be
conversation
a great one to watch with your friends who don't know what's coming.
That might
and
be.
watch them
That would be
react
the
to
only
the
case.
movie
This
as
is
it
sort of
goes.
reminding me of the Wolfman conversation, and I think Griffey's in the Heath seat.
Oh,
What? Because
Getting
I
sweaty?
liked the movie?
getting sweaty, bro.
That is true. Heath liked Wolfman. We did not. And that's the thing. We're not always going to agree. This movie's way better than the Wolfman, to be fair.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. I think it's fun. It's interesting. I thought most of the young actors were up to the challenge. We got to see our dude from Broken Lizard. That was cool seeing
That
him
was-
back.
Always love him.
Yeah, I
whatever
can't
his name
remember
is.
The
his
counselors were all good. I thought.
Paul Soter. That was fun. So again, I thought I had just enough, and I thought as the mystery's unfurling, in the moment, captured and being like, what the fuck, what the fuck. The end of the movie was such a ride. I found it to be ultra enjoyable.
You can't judge it because I thought the mother's acting was terrible, but it was actually really good. Having
I
looked
think
back at
she's
it,
playing a whole other character that we have no context for.
we were just like, this character makes no sense at the time, but when you watch it or think of it at the end, it's like she was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I always liked Corbin Bernsen, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even though his role was kind of silly, didn't make sense. Don't know why it was there.
He's just angry.
I really like the counselors.
Yeah.
I wanted to spend more time with them.
Counselors were great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again,
Because they weren't kids.
Especially the main girl. She was really good.
It's a stuffed movie for 93 minutes. It packs a lot of shit in. A lot of shit in 93 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought... So, thumbs up, Sam?
I'll give it a thumbs up.
Heath?
It's a very burnt, crispy marshmallow that I would just toss back into the bonfire.
He's throwing it back
I'm going
in
to
the
preface
fire.
it with one-time watch, though.
I think it's going to be great to share. Like, I would watch this with my kids, and I think they'd love it. Like, I'd rewatch this and
Fair
just
enough.
go through watching other people go through the ride. I think that's the great value of this. And again, a lot of twist-ending movies, that's the value of them. Watching them again is inflicting them on your kids.
Right.
Or other people, right? Like, I just watched Seven with my son, and as the box is coming, he's, like, shaking. He's like, I have no idea what's happening right now. And getting to relive that twist ending that I'll never get to experience for the first time again with someone who's never seen it.
Have you shown him...
So fun.
What's the one where he sees dead people?
Yeah, we
Sixth
watched
Sense.
that on a car ride to
Sixth
Tennessee.
Sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
a
they
good
didn't like that as much.
Really?
They thought it was kind of weak, but
Wow, damn.
they love Seven. So again, I think these movies are a time-honored tradition of filmmaking. Filmmakers have always loved the kind of sleight-of-hand magician ending. I think it's something that we as audiences mostly love. I think this will be a really fun one to keep sharing and doing that with more audiences. I think it achieves a lot, even with some rough edges.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, dude.
Fair enough. That's it for Marshmallow. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, not these two monsters.
And if you know what marshmallow means, like in
let us
computing
know.
terms, let us
Mr.
know.
DelPurgatorio, come on the show. You can yell at us and tell us what the fuck marshmallow means. That would be fantastic. I would love that. Guys, help us make our movie so you guys can lay into it. Mr. Cream Jeans Hidey Hole. Go to Indiegogo. You have to type it in. Because, again, we're not afraid. We're not afraid. Indiegogo's afraid. We're not. You have to help us get this movie out into the world. We're doing great. All the support we can get means the world to us. Go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon to support this show. Subscribe to Misfit Parade on YouTube. MisfitParade.com for all the updates on the cool shit we